Hello YouTube viewers. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I've decided I'm actually going to show you my commuting to work, going to work on a daily basis. So at the moment I'm at the front of my house, so you can see exactly the road conditions and traffic going from my house straight to where I work. And you can use this as an assessment for if you're looking at buying a Wanderer, Super Soco Wanderer, to see whether you can actually do the daily commute if you have enough battery charge, etc. So my bike has 2 batteries, and at the moment I'm in mode 3. I always go to work in mode 3 because I need to keep up with traffic, and mode 2 and 1, well, mode 1's hopeless, but mode 2 sometimes doesn't go well enough in traffic. So always mode 3 I use, and it's 100% charge. Both batteries are perfect. So what I'll do is just go on my commute now. I'll start, and you can just see what it's like. So whatever hills that you see me going up or down, obviously when I come back, it's going to be the opposite. So it's exactly the same sort of energy that you're using on the round trip. So what I'll do is when I get to my work, I'll tell you and put up on the screen what my battery percentage is. And then also when I return home, I'll put up what my battery percentage is. But there's no need to show you the return trip because it's exactly the same, obviously just in reverse. So as you can see by the initial images, I live on top of a mountain. So it is a little bit more difficult for me coming back because my batteries are already run down when on the way back, and I've got to come up hills like this one. So yeah, but it averages out, as I said, over the period of there and back. So luckily today the weather is absolutely fantastic, so it was a good chance to actually try this. A lot of viewers have actually asked me about that. You know, they've said, you know, should I buy the Wanderer to go to work on? And well, I mean, the answer is mostly yes. I think it's a good bike for work, but if you live a long distance away and they're straight roads and traffic is fast, then it's probably not the bike to get. So this is the reason why I wanted to show you a typical ride where at the moment I'm in a country area, and then I'll start to get towards the city, and then in traffic and traffic lights. And it's a real world situation that you probably encounter if you lived in the suburbs and you were going into work. So yeah, that's the intent of this video. It should take about 35 to 40 minutes. It depends on the traffic once we get up to the busier area, but certainly let's say at least 50%, more than 50% of the way, 60% is not much traffic at all. No one wants to live out in the country in Japan, so that's not an issue. There we go, put my sun visor down, it's a bit bright. I got up a little bit early this morning to enable me to figure out how to put everything on the Wanderer, the cameras and the GPS tracking and audio, etc. So once I sorted that out, the rest was pretty easy. Just make sure everything's turned on and away you go. it's interesting. I've got my other helmet on today. I've got quite a lot of helmets, but this one I don't really wear in summertime. It's too hot. This is the first time I've had it out this season. It's autumn now, so I thought I'd blow the cobwebs off the helmet and get it out and put it on. I usually wear this helmet on my Honda. It's similar colours to the Honda racing colours, HRC team colours. These hills are quite gentle, other than the one where I live on my mountain. The rest are just normal hills, so you come up a gentle slope and then down on the other side you're rolling down. So like now, for example, my hand's off the accelerator, I'm not using any power at all, so you just roll down the other side, so it evens out quite well, I think. But as I was saying, it's just on the return trip when you need a little bit more torque and your battery voltage is lower. You definitely don't have the same power, but today's exercise isn't really about the power, it's about the range that you can do comfortably in traffic when you're commuting, and that's the intent of this video. Yesterday I took the Super Soco out on a round circuit and it's to a lake area, but I wasn't really happy with some of the video content, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time working on that video and I'll upload that some other time. Normally if I was on my Honda or Yamaha going to work, which I often don't take those anymore, but if I was, I'd be past this car and truck already. There's something you wouldn't really do on the Wanderer. I've been using this now for, I don't know, 5 months, I guess, going to work. And it's actually very relaxing. You don't feel stressed at all when you get to work. It's really good. I know, especially a few times, not often, but a few, I've taken my Yamaha XSR, and that's like I've been on the Isle of Man TT when I get to work. I'm all worked up. I don't feel like getting motivated after a ride like that. Now, this one's, relaxing and no stress, and it's very light, and you don't feel like it's bad at all going to work on it. Some people have commented actually to me about the bike. They've actually, this guy's pulling over for me, thank you. They've commented about, they're dangerous, cars can't hear them and pedestrians can't hear them. And, I always answer, well, people in cars always have the windows up, air conditioning on, and music. You know, they wouldn't know what day it was inside a car. And then pedestrians, well, they're used to especially in Japan, they're used to bicycles. Everyone commutes, the students commute to school by bike. There's thousands of them every morning going everywhere, and they're used to looking around for bikes. And I've never, ever had an issue whatsoever that the bike's been quiet and somebody hasn't heard it. So, yeah, it's quite a strange, objection that people have, or a fear, but it's actually not warranted whatsoever. And the other thing is that I've found quite good is the fact that with no motor, you can actually hear traffic coming to the right or left of you if their engine's revving hard. So if somebody is going to come across the road, you can actually hear them. And that's happened to me only once. It's very rare here in Japan, but the light was green for me, and I was going to go through, and normally a rider that's experienced always checks left and right even though the light's green to go through, and I could hear an engine on my right hand side, so I actually really looked, turning my head. There was a car that was quite a way back, and they were just going to run the red light. I don't know if it was an emergency or something had happened, but so I stopped and it went screaming through the intersection. So in some with a normal bike. So up to this point, I've got 96% battery remaining, so I've just used 4% to get to this point. And you can use my telemetry data to look at the speed the bike is travelling. But this is fairly a normal speed. It's not slow for me like going to work. This is about the normal pace. I'm not going any extra slower because it's the Super Soco. It's just, this is the normal pace that I go. I mean, if I go like a maniac, I end up getting to work too early. I mean, there's nothing to do, so you just go, at what pace it is to when you leave your house to when you get to work, and you just stick to that pace. You get to work on time and no problem. So this is a downhill. This is a wider road. The speed limit's a little bit higher on this road, and it's probably 2 or 3 kilometres downhill. But on the way back, of course, this is the hill. I call this Heartbreak Hill. It's for the Super Soco, lower on power battery voltage. It struggles up here to do the speed limit. However, it does do it. I just keep the throttle completely open, flat out, all the way from the bottom, and just by the time I reach the top, it's slowing down. But I've never held up traffic before, so really I'm just cruising again. My hand really isn't accelerating here. Using the throttle. I just missed these traffic lights, so that's alright. I'm not burning any juice from the battery when I'm stopped, except for my headlight. But as you can see by the traffic here, I mean, coming out of the country area, there's virtually nothing around, so you can just stick to a reasonably constant speed. You're not stopping and starting all the time. In the next 10 minutes it'll start to get more congested. So we're still continuing down the hill. Basically, from here to almost all the way now to my work, it's fairly flat. There's only really gradual little slopes. So I just cruise along here most of the way, doing, I don't know, whatever speed this is. $50, $40, $50, $50 along here. Actually, I quite like this bit when I go to work. It's really nice. The road's very smooth. It's a little bit wider. The bends are nice sweepers, and you know, you can sort of enjoy the ride in. It's quite good. The view's quite nice. The river's just down there. It's quite good, really. Stuck behind this Suzuki Swift. It's not very swift. I used to have one of those. It was absolutely hopeless. The rear brakes were drum brakes. It was a manual, and the thrust bearing in the clutch went, and you'd have to pump the brakes for them to stop well. It was pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, the styling, it's won styling awards, but looks is one thing, but you know, the whole point of a car is to get from point A to point B, and if it's not reliable, then it's not worth buying. So after the thrust bearing went, I got rid of it. In Japan, most people buy automatic cars. It's very rare that somebody will get a manual car. So, and here there's two types of driving licenses. So you can have an automatic transmission license or a manual transmission license, which means you can, if you have manual, you can do both, of course. And 90% of people going for their driving licenses only get an automatic transmission license, which I just don't understand. I know in an emergency you've got to borrow someone's car or jump into a car and it's a manual. What are you going to do if you don't know how to drive a manual? So you can see now we're starting to get into a built up area, it's starting to get busier. The road's still very nice, a good smooth road. All the roads around here are like this, but it starts to get built up and get into traffic now. We've got a traffic light up here. This is the third one. I got caught up on one on the big hill, but usually I get a good run up to about this point. Just going to lift my visor up, get a bit of fresh air in. So the battery now is 90%, so I've used up 10% so far, and yeah, I've just been riding my normal pace, not slower than normal, not extra fast or anything like that. It's just this is the way I normally ride in. And if I had my, say for example I took my Honda, the 750, it would be the same pace. As I said before, there's no point riding like a maniac. I'm just going to work, so this is the sort of pace I'd expect people that would buy one of these to go to work on. They'd probably be doing a similar pace, so it should be fairly accurate to help you out with your batteries. All you need to do is either double the distance or add a hill here or there to work out how far you think you can go on a Super Soco. But I definitely recommend 2 batteries. I could not do this on 1 battery. It just would not be practical at all. So for those of you who don't have enough money to afford to buy a bike, one of these Wanderers or the actual TS Street Hunter with 2 batteries, I'd recommend just save up an extra 2 months or something, save your money until you can afford to actually get it with the 2 to start with. You might be able to negotiate with your dealer to get a better price if you can buy it with the 2 batteries, because they obviously make a little bit of extra money on the higher costs, so be able to get a deal that way. So just up here shortly it starts to get quite busy. There's a big major intersection and a train crossing, and there's a high school right there, so luckily I've missed the high school rush hour, and normally the traffic's jammed right up. But that's the thing with an electric vehicle, if you're stuck in traffic, it doesn't matter, you're not using any power, so it's actually the opposite to a gasoline engine, a petrol engine motorcycle. You're sitting there idling, burning away your fuel, where here if you stop, you're not using any energy, so it doesn't really matter how long you're stuck in traffic for. But anyway, I'm flowing across here nicely now. Let's get around these lights. Oh no, this thing doesn't matter. Let this car through. I just reset the camera then. It only records 29 minutes, and then it takes about 2.5 minutes to start recording again, stop and start recording. So when you're riding along, you get this huge gap, and it's really hard to edit, trying to find out where the stopping and starting is. So I was at those lights and I just stopped and started the camera, so it makes it a bit easier. So the GPS is separate. I don't use the GPS in the camera for that reason, so I always use a separate GPS, so it's always continuous. See if we can sneak past. Yes, excellent. This is a train crossing up here. Just make sure I stop and look left and right, because there's sometimes police down over there and they'll get you. That was a busy part, and then we've got a flat open area here between rice fields, and then we start to go up. In the distance you can see that hill. That's the hill I'm going to go over to get to my work, and then it's only 5 minutes from there. When it's a windy day, coming along here on the bike, doesn't matter what bike it is unbelievably windy here. It's like a valley, and it funnels the air straight along these rice fields, and you're almost at a 45-degree angle sometimes trying to ride against the wind. But today's not too bad at all. There's hardly any wind, but yeah, it can be really extreme sometimes. Yeah, it's a great day today. Here we go. Oh, missed out on these traffic lights. Goodbye. It happens. Can't have everything all the time. Yeah. So this, just in front is the hill. This is not very long hill, but it's a little bit steep. So it's the only other hill that I would call steepish, I guess, in this trip. On the way back, of course, it's downhill. Yeah, so we go up on the way and down on the way back. So I get a good run down here, actually. Usually when I go home, cruises down the hill. find another Swift. They just recently resurfaced this part of the road. It's really super smooth. It's excellent. They did it last month. Okay, we're going to swing a left in off this road, continue along down a smaller, narrower road. Around here they also grow mandarin oranges and tea as well, so it's a bit of a mixture of farming things around here. You notice these little wooden boxes, so people can just come along and you have basically 100 yen or a coin, 500 yen or something like that, and you put it into the box and you can just take your own fruit from in the box. It's already wrapped up, the farmers do it for you, and people are very honest, no one steals it, and you get fresh fruit, so it's quite nice. I sometimes buy it from here on the way home, and so I've got some fruit for the weekend. Okay, so there's a lot of those tall buildings over there. That's sort of where I'm heading. There's a hospital, university, high school. It's all in that complex, so that's where I work. So I have to... sometimes it's really dangerous around here, actually. There's people going to the hospital, students, thousands going to the university, all the kids going to school, to the high school. So you've got to have your wits about you. Especially earlier on in the morning. It's a little bit later in the morning now, so it's not as bad. So you just get a lot of retired pensioners going to the hospital that you have to just be careful about when they're going in their car. So these are all roads. I have right of way back there, but I still have to be super careful. And along here they have right of way, so but it's a bit hard to get cars in that area where I am, so I'm just going to move, let that car in. It's like a rabbit's warren around here, zigging and zagging around all the little roads. So we're almost there, and this is, as I said, exactly typical. Every day is what I would go exactly those roads, same speed, everything. No, the conditions are identical. And to be honest, I always get consistent power readings all the time. Yeah, I don't vary really much at all. Let me just go around here. Okay, so here I am at work. Let's just have a look here. So I'm obviously still in mode 3. I've got 83% battery. So I've hardly used any battery at all. I'll put up on the screen towards the end how many kilometres I've done. You can see it on the telemetry data anyhow. But yeah, the two battery system's excellent. All mode 3 all the way, keeping up with traffic, absolutely no problem at all. So going home, as I said, will be identical roads, but I'll put up on the screen the final battery consumption and any other details that I don't have here at the moment. I'll get them after, and then put it up on the screen at the end for you. But you can work out your own economy, your own basis, your own travelling based on what I've just shown you today in these road conditions, flat roads, small hills, large hills, speed-wise, and then you can determine whether the TC Wanderer is going to be suitable for you or not. But anyhow, that's it. So I'll say bye for now, and I'll put the details up on the end of this video when I finally get home this afternoon. How much battery power I have left, and it'll give you a good indication. So thank you very much for watching, and I really do hope that this helps you make a decision. Thank you very much. Goodbye.